Hey there, this is Chad Garber, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I play Lamb of God by Vertical Worship. So if you like this video, give me a like and subscribe to see more. Okay, so let's get into this. Two things to talk about real quick. First, there's about 5 or 6 different parts, probably more than that, but I'm going to show you about 5 or 6 different parts. The second thing is that he's actually using a capo on his electric guitar, and I'm not doing that, so it's going to change a little bit how I'm playing it, but it's going to be the same notes, okay? Okay, so the first part is... And what that is I use my ring finger to hit the 10th fret of the B string, and then I use my pointer finger to pick the 8th fret of the E string, and then I use my pointer finger. Actually, when I use my pointer finger on the 8th fret of the E string, I'm actually putting it over the E and the B on that 8th fret, because then I can go. Then you just kind of roll over and hit the 8th fret of the B string. And then you again hit the 10th fret of the B string. And then you go to the 10th fret of the G string. And then you go back to the 8th fret of the B string. So. And then you repeat that exact same thing. Except instead of going back to the 10th fret of the D string, you're going to go to the 9th fret of the G string. So the whole thing is... Second part is not real clear, but here's what I'm doing. I'm doing this. Because either the piano's doing it or the guitar's doing it, but it sounds good with the guitar doing it as well. So, and I'm using a swell. Okay, what that is, I'm using my ring finger to hit the 10th fret of the G, and then my pointer finger over the E and the 8th fret of the E and the B, and then I hit the 8th fret of the E first, and then I hit the 8th fret of the B next. So it's... You can even do it. You don't have to swell, because I don't think they really swell. I think it's just a piano doing it, but I like to swell it. Okay, so then the third part is... Okay, now what that is, now this part is really greatly affected by not using the capo. It's a lot easier with the capo on the first fret, but I'm doing it without it. So anyway, so what you're doing there is, what I do is, I take my middle finger, and I put it on the 9th fret of the G string, use my ring finger to hammer on to the 10th fret of the G string. And then I use my ring finger to hit the 9th fret of the D string. See, if you have the capo on, you can go... You just hit the open B string or whatever it is, but... Yeah, if you have the capo here, you can just do... And then just hit the B string. But you can't do that without a capo, so you go... So I hit like I said, the 9th fret of the D string. Then I use my pointer finger to hit the 8th fret of the E string. And hang out there for a second, and then it does that again. It does that 9th and 10th fret of the G string, back to the 10th fret of the D string, but then after it hits the 8th fret of the E, it goes back to the 10th fret of the D, and then it goes to the 8th fret of the B string. So it's the same thing, except for it goes... Then it repeats. And then the third time it goes. So it does the same thing, except it adds that 10th fret of the B string. And now, this is not exactly how he does it, I don't think. It's close, but I don't think it's exactly how he does it. This is how I'm playing it, and it works well, okay? So anyway, so I go, third time I go. So that time I go to the 10th fret of the B string, and then I do it again, the normal way. And then what I do is I take my ring finger and I put it on the 11th fret of the B string, and I take my pointer finger and put it on the 8th fret of the E string and hit it. Hit that, and then hit the 11th fret of the B, the 8th fret of the E, back to the 11th fret of the B, and then slide it to the 13th fret of the B. And then it goes back to the... Okay, so the fourth part sounds something like this. And all that is I got my pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, and I have my pinky on the 5th fret of the G string, and I'm doing something like... It doesn't have to be exact like that, but he does something, definitely this part. So I'm going... That's the fourth part. Okay, so the fifth part, he does a little bit differently than I'm doing it, but the way I'm doing it is I'm going. It's close to what he's doing, but it's not exact. But anyway, what that is I'm using my pointer finger and I'm putting it on the 10th fret of the G. And I'm using my ring finger and put it on the 12th fret of the D. I hit that twice each. Then I slide it up to I take my pointer finger and put it on the 14th fret of the G. And on the and I put my middle finger on the 15th fret of the D. Hit those notes twice. And then I take my pointer finger and put it on the 12th fret of the G and 14th fret of the D string. And then I just take my pointer finger, put it on the 12th fret of the D, and then put it to the 14th fret of the D. My ring finger on the 14th fret of the D. Then it repeats it again. Then it goes to the 13th fret of the B and the 14th fret of the G. Twice. But then I use my ring finger, the middle finger, to hit the 13th fret of the high E, and then my pointer finger to go to the 12th of the high E. So, the first time is... And so that when he goes this part, he hits the 13th fret of the B once, and then the 14th fret of the D once, 14th fret of the G once. And then it goes back to the 13th fret of the B and hits that once, but then it hits the other notes. So it only does 3 notes total on that little phrase. And at the beginning, he does something like... I just couldn't figure out which one he's doing, so I just kept it simple. And so that's what that is on the second part. Like the first part you're doing. Next part, he does a little bit different notes on this one, but what I do is I just do the same thing I did at the very beginning. I just kind of do some swelling. And then, halfway through, He does something a little bit differently. He does something like, and then does something else. What I do is I use this part, and I use that part, and I do it for a while, and also I change it a little bit. So what that is I take my pointer finger, and I got it over the 13th fret of the high E and then the B, and you kind of go back and forth, pick up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then you put your my ring finger on the 15th fret of the E. And you can really do this part if you want to. I think it sounds really good. You can do this part for that whole section. You can do that the whole part, because what they're doing is they're kind of doing the chorus, but they're building up from the chorus. They're not going into a full chorus. They're going to a build-up chorus. And so what I actually do is this. What that is the same notes. I'm just hitting them twice every time. Like, so, forward till you. So you're doing this. Except for you're doing each note twice. I think that sounds amazing. So again, you're doing this. But you're doing this, and it's on that build-up part. And then eventually you'll go back into the chorus and then out. So that's it. That's pretty much the song. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a like and subscribe to see more. Thanks.